In this video, we're going to take a look at two different transformations. When we transform something, we change it in some way. So when we do a transformation on a point or a shape in the coordinate plane, we're going to change the position and sometimes the orientation of that particular object. The first transformation that we're going to look at is called a translation. Now, we've probably seen the word translate before when we talk about moving between two different languages. But when we talk about it in terms of transformations, this is when we're moving from one location to another. The size always stays the same, so we're not changing the size. The shape doesn't change, and the orientation doesn't change. So if you look down here, we have our pre-image, which is basically what we begin with, or we start with, and our image, which is what we end with. And the only thing that changed was the location. If I were to measure these, they'd still be the same size, and they haven't changed their angle at all. They're still facing exactly the same way. There's a few ways that we describe these translations, and one of those involves including the words horizontal and vertical. So we may be familiar with horizontal and vertical from conversations about the X and Y axes, but we need to know that horizontal means side to side, left being negative, right being positive, and vertical means up and down being negative, and up being positive. So if we take a look at our examples here, we have a point and our directions say translate up 3 units. So we're going to go up 3 steps. So now I'm going to find wherever I'm starting. Here's point A, my pre-image, and I'm just going to move this up 3 steps. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3 steps. And since I started with A, I'm going to label this with A, and then I'm going to put a little mark up top. It looks like a little 1 or a little apostrophe, and that's A prime. That's what tells me that this is the new version of A that I want to look at, my image. Now they ask for my coordinates. So remember, when we do coordinates, it's always X comma Y. X is our side to side, and Y is our up and down coordinate. So starting at the origin, we go 3 to the right. Since it's right, it's positive. And then we go up 1, so that's positive 1. So the coordinate of A prime is 3, 1. For the next one, we have 2 separate directions. So we're going to go 5 units down, and then we are going to go 1 unit to the right. So I'm going to do these in order. So first I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down, but I'm not going to stop here because I'm not done. And then I'm going to go 1 unit to the right. And this is where we stop, and we label it B prime. So now I'm going to look at my coordinates, again thinking X comma Y. So from the origin I go left 1, since I go left, that's negative 1. And then down 2, since we go down, that's negative 2. The next one is asking the exact same thing, except we're using those words horizontal and vertical. So remember, horizontal is side to side, and since this is positive 4, we're going to go to the right 4. And then vertically is up and down, negative 2. Since it's negative, that means we're going down 2 units. So go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, so we start by going 4 units to the right. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go 2 units down, 1, 2. And we'll plot our new point right there. Again, we call it C prime since we started with C. Starting from the origin, we go 3 units to the right, and then we don't move up or down at all, so our Y coordinate is 0. We can also translate a whole shape. So to do this, we just repeat the process that we've been doing, except we're going to do it 1 time for each point on the shape. So here with this one, we're going right 6 units, and then up 3 units. So I'm going to start with F. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure I count that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, and then we go up 1, 2, 3. I'll plot this point here, and here it's going to be especially important to label. Then we'll do the next one, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. This will be E prime. And then we do G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. My last step here is going to be to connect the dots for my new shape. And when I do that, I see that I have this triangle. If I draw it a little better, it looks exactly the same as the other triangle, just in a new position. And here we want coordinates of F prime. So we're going 2 units to the right from the origin, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So F prime is at 2, 4. For the next one, we're doing the same thing. We're just giving this in horizontal and vertical. So horizontally, negative 3 means we're going to go left 3 units. And vertically 4 units means we're going to go up 4 units. So pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, so for each one here, we move those points left 3 and up 4. So A, for example, we go left 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see again, the triangle looks exactly the same, just in a different spot. The coordinates of A prime are 2 to the left and 2 up, so it would be -2, +2. So that's translating. We're just picking up that shape or that point and moving it around on the coordinate plane. Reflection is the other one. So while translation is sometimes thought of as a slide, reflection can be thought of as a flip. And we're always going to reflect over an axis. So we're going to either go over the y-axis or the x-axis. And if you look at our pre-image, which is again is our beginning or our start, and our image, we have the same shape and the same size, but now we've flipped it. Think about turning the pages of a book or looking in the mirror, and it looks a little different than what we started with. So if we come down here and look at our reflection, it's always going to be important to note which axis we're reflecting over. So for this one, it says reflect over the x-axis. So I'm going to highlight the x-axis. It's incredibly important that we know where we're going here. So I start with A, and I'm going to count how many units does it take to get to that axis of reflection. So in this case, we're going to the x, so we count 1, 2, 3 units. My reflection is going to be 3 units above the axis. The distance is always the same. So now we count 1, 2, 3, and this is where our point is going to be A prime. So the coordinates, again, were 3 to the left and 3 up, so both of those are positive, and we have 3, 3. If we want to reflect over the y-axis for this one, I'm going to highlight the y-axis, and we're going to do the same thing. So B is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So that means B prime is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 units past, and we plot that here. So B prime is at 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left, 3 units up. So we're at -4, +3. We can also do this with an image. So in this one, we're reflecting over the x-axis. So I'm going to highlight that axis. And again, we just do each point individually. So for H, I count 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and plot H prime. Then I can do I and count 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And we have I prime. And then if we do J, we have 1, 2 units. So we go 2 units past. And we have J prime. And if we connect our dots here, we see that we have that same triangle. It's just been flipped around. In this case, the coordinates of H prime are 1 to the right and 2 down. So that's +1 and -2. Our last example here combines 2 different transformations. So the first is to translate the figure vertically 2 units. So we're going to move everything up 2 units, and then we'll come back and do the second part. So up 2, we come up 1, 2. This is B prime. Up 2 is 1, 2. This is C prime. Up 2 is 1, 2. And that's where A is going to be. But now we want to reflect everything over the y-axis. So I'm going to take B, that's 1, 2, 3. So I count 1, 2, 3. This is where my final B is going to be. A is 1 unit, so we go just 1 unit past. And then C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can start to stack these transformations together, and you'll see that this is flipped, but also slightly elevated. So the final coordinate of C prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, so -5. And then 2 down, -2.